So, guys, if you remember yesterday, we had a brief introduction about what is a public access modifiers. Right. So, what exactly a public? If you define something as a public, we can access that information within the entire project. Right, there is a no specific restriction for public. You can access it within the entire project. Like in n number of classes, in n number of packages, you can access that information. Good. So let us see a simple example for this public now, and then we will jump on with the other examples as well. Let's go back to the editor and let me open up my um, project, and I'm creating a new Java class here. Name it as an example file. In this class, I'm creating a method which is public void login. This is the method I have created. System.out.println login. And even we studied about a private as well. So private void login and system.out.println logout. Sorry, this should be a logout, not a login. Login and a logout are two different methods. Login is of a public and logout is of a private. I know that if I define something as a public, it can be accessed in the entire project. Whereas if I define something as a private, we can access it within the project itself. That's it. We can't access it beyond that project. You can access that information within that particular project itself. Max to max, sorry, if I define it within a uh, uh, private, basically, it's going to be within that class itself. Sorry, within the class itself. Okay, if you define something as a private, whereas a public entire project. As I have created one Java class, let me create a one more Java class and see how can I access that information. So new Java class, example 6, and let me add a main method here. And whenever we have created a main method, let me try to create an object and access it. Example 5 space obj name is equal to new example 5. Obj name dot login. I can access only the login method itself, but obj name dot logout I can see it here. So what I'm doing right now means directly let me type my logout method. I know logout is a method we have used, hence I am directly typing in my logout message here. So whenever I typed in my logout here, if you observe, it's throwing an error message. And when you mouse over on that error message, it is stating that change the visibility of a logout to a package. So the meaning is you have a declared a logout method as a public private method, right? Hence, you can't access it outside the class. Okay, hence you can't access it outside the class. Only thing you can do is within the class itself we can access the information. Okay, within the class itself we can access that information. Good, done the deal. So we are good to go here. So as I am calling a logout, my Java is not allowing it. It's good, but the login is a public. I tried accessing login in another class within the same package. Good to go. Let's try to call this a login method present in example 5 class in another package. Whatever the package might be, try calling that information in another package, not within the package, and see whether this public is working properly or not. So what I'm doing right now, let me create a new package here. New package. scripts 2, and here within the scripts 2, I'm creating a new class example 11 with the main methods. I have created this class, and here what are we doing means example 5 space obj name is equal to new example 5. I have created an object to this particular example 5. Here, what I have done means I just created an object to my example 5. But this time, whenever I created an object to my example 5, I'm getting an error message on that particular example 5. If you mouse over on that example 5, it is saying that import methods examples, import scripts example 5. So it is saying that you are referring to an example 5, and I can find that example 5 in a two different packages. One example 5 is there in a methods example, and another example 5 is there in a scripts of one package. Which one you are referring to? So I'm referring to that example 1, example 5 inside the scripts, hence I am using an import statement. What exactly the significance of this import statement means? Usually in a simple language, what we can consider is that class, whatever you are trying to access is not within this package. That's the first thing. But your editor recognized that the class in a different package. So it's giving us an option to check which package we are referring to. What exactly the package basically we are referring to? It's giving us an option. You just need to check it and you just need to update that information. That's it. You just need to check it and you just need to update that information. That's it, guys. Okay, you need to import it. In detail about this import, we will see moving ahead, but not right now. But here, obj name dot. I know my public method is a login. I can call this a login method here. So if you clearly observe, I have defined a login as a public. I can access that information within the package, outside the package also. Right. That's what we have observed with respect to this login, with respect to the login method, which is of a public. So here, if you define access modifiers as a public, you can access that information within the same class. You can access that information in the package. You can access that information in the same package. You can access that information in a different packages as well, and even you can access that information outside of that particular class also. There is a no specific restriction. You can access that information globally, whether those classes are in a parent-child relation or not in a parent-child relation. Still we can access that information present in a public. Okay. Good. Done the deal. And another thing is, if you define something as a private, you can access that information within the same class itself. Other than that particular class, you can't access that information in any other packages or in any other classes. Okay, in any other packages or in any other classes, we can't access that information. Good. Then the next one is a default access modifier. So what exactly this default access modifier is? Let us see. This we can also treat it as a no access modifiers. When we don't mention any access modifier, it is called as a default access modifier. So specifically or explicitly, you no need to call these the default modifiers. Basically, you can directly specify as a blank. Automatically, the default modifier will be called. Okay, you can leave it as a blank. Automatically, the default modifier will be called. The scope of this modifier is limited to the package only. So whenever you are using a default, the scope of the methods or variables, whatever you are creating, will be restricted to a package itself, not outside the package. So it means if I have created a default method within the scripts1 package, I can't access that default one outside of this particular scripts1 package. It can be accessed within this scripts1 package itself. Okay, it can be accessed within this scripts1 package itself. Good. Let us try to see how exactly we can maintain it. See here, I'm creating a new class inside the scripts one, example 7, and here void login. So usually the first keyword will be an access modifier, right? Either public or a private, we have to specify. I haven't specified anything. I left it as a blank value. When you don't mention any modifier, it is considered as a default, and the scope of this modifier is limited to package only. Within this scripts one package, if I can create n number of classes, I can access this information for all those classes. There is no specific restriction here. You can access that whole information. So what I'm going to do right now is, okay, so what I'm going to do right now, create a new Java class, example 8, with a main method, and let us create an object to example 7 and see how can we use it. Example 7 space obj name is equal to new example 7. Okay, so I have created an object. Now obj name dot see, I can see this login method. Access it. I just accessed my login method here. Okay, good. Whenever you want to navigate to that method definition, press a control from your keyboard. Okay, guys, press control from your keyboard and mouse over on a method or a variable. It will display as a hyperlink, which is navigating to that definition. So the thing is, how to display as a hyperlink is press control plus mouse over on that, which will display as a hyperlink. Okay, which will display as a hyperlink. Just click on the link, which will navigate to the step definitions, or which will navigate to the definition of the methods. Okay, good. So I'm pressing control from my keyboard and I'm mouse hovering on this login method. It's displaying as a hyperlink and I'm clicking on that hyperlink. It's navigating to the method logic. Good. So the point here is I have created void login in an example 7 and I was able to access that particular method in an example 8, which is of a same package. Now what I'm doing means, let me try to access this particular one in a different package and see how this is going to work. Example 12 with the main method. As per the definition, I can't access that information. Let us see. As per this one, so what I'm doing right now here, example 7 space obj name is equal to new example 7. I have created an object, and as usual I'm just specifying import option here also, imported it, and now obj name dot see here I can't access this login method. As I know the method, still I'm calling that login method here. It is showing an message for me that whenever you mouse over on that, the method of that type is not visible. Login itself is not visible. Change the visibility of a login to a public. So we didn't get this error message whenever you are trying to access within the same package. So the thumb rule here is, if you are trying to access a method into a different package, then definitely definitely it should be of a public type. If it is a default, then you can access the info within the same package itself. See, this tabular format will gives you a clear-cut understanding how exactly the usage will be for these access modifiers across the different packages or the same packages or the child classes and all those things. So we have a documented that. So this default will be accessed within a class and within a same package. If it is outside the class of a different package, you can't access it. But if it is in a same package, you can access that information. There is a no specific restriction for this particular one. Okay, there is a no specific restriction for this particular one. Good enough. Okay, cool. And then the next and a most important one, a bit confusing one here, is a protected. Okay, and this protected can also be accessed within the same package itself. Okay, just like a default, the protected can also be accessed within the same package itself. One second, let me make a note of this one. 10/9/2020. This protected is just like a default, which can be accessed within the same package itself. We can't access it outside the package. That's good. Then immediately, just like a default. Then immediately a quick question will rise in our mind. What is the difference between protected and default then? Right. What is the difference between this protected and as well as the default? Okay. So basically, this protected will be worked within parent and as well as a child classes within the same package. If multiple classes are in a relation between a parent and a child, this info can be accessed within the same package of the classes which are in a parent-child relationship. You can also say that the protected access modifier is similar to that of a default access modifiers with only one small exception, which is the visibility in the subclasses. Okay, classes cannot be declared as a protected basically. Okay, and this access modifier is used whenever the classes are in a parent-child relationship. Okay, only one thing is, whenever the two classes are in a parent-child relationship, then only it can be accessed. Okay, let me create an example for this a parent-child relation. We know that inheritance concept, we studied it yesterday. So let us see this concept now. So here, new Java class, example 9. I created a new Java class, and here I'm defining protected void. It's going to be a return type, which is a mandatory thing. Add int a comma int b system.out.println a plus b. That's it. We just created this particular method. And this method is of a protected and it is in an example 9. I can consider whenever the two classes are in a relation, the first class that we have created is going to be a parent class. Now, I need to create a child class. Example 10. And This example 10 should be in a relation between these two, right? Extends example 9. So I'm just using this extends a concept. Okay, extends is the basic thing which establish a relation between the two different classes. So whenever I have added these two different classes, now let me try to access that particular method. Example 9 space obj name is equal to new example 9 obj name dot. So here I have created 1 second example 9. Okay, example 9, these two classes. Okay, example 9, example 10 extends this example 9. That's fine. Example 9 space obj is equal to new example 9. So I should get this method, right? So 1 second. Let me change it to what is the method name here, and in which I'm passing 2 comma 3 as an input for this. Okay, so whenever I mouse over on that, expected a token. Obj name is equal to new object, and then I'm just calling down this information. I'm not doing anything else. Extends is a keyword that I have used. Example 10 is my new class. Example 9 is my old class. And then within a main method, example 9 space obj is equal to new example 9. You should get it right. Obj name dot. Not getting anything. Why? Just a second, guys. Let me close these things and let me refresh my editor once. Why I'm not getting this one? We should get this stuff as these two classes are in a relation, and as I have defined this as a protected, and that too everything is in a same package. All right. So should be here. Why it's not working? 1 second. So here example 9 space obj is equal to new example 9. I have created this one, and now import this one. I'm just trying to see whether I can access it in the other packages or not. So here it's not displaying. So here what I'm doing right now, multiple packages. Example 9 obj dot add 2 comma 3. So I just added this one and change the visibility to the public. Okay, so it should be within the class itself. 1 second, same package, example 11 with a main methods, and within this main methods extends. The two classes should use this extends the keywords. Example 9. Both the classes are okay. Example 9, it's navigating to that, and here example 9 space obj is equal to new example 9 obj dot. See, now I am getting this information. So there is some issue in loading that stuff. That's the reason I didn't get it. I haven't done anything, guys. As if you observe, let me call this one first of all 2 comma 3, and if you observe the 10th class and the 11th class, I haven't done anything. Just it's just a sync issue basically. If you see the 10th class, the same way I have done here also in an example 11, but I didn't get that information within that. Okay, so I missed in, so there should be a main method in accessing the object, right? I forgot to add a main method here. See, this is the issue. I forgot to add a main method. I simply created a class. See here, let me add a main method. I forgot to add a main method. And inside the main method, I'm just calling this one 2 comma 5. Okay, that's it. I can access this information. As I have mentioned, protected is used within the package itself, and that too within the subclasses itself. You can't access it when the classes are not in a relation. The reason why we encountered an issue in accessing the method specific to an example 10 is I forgot to add this main method, and I was just trying to call that particular object or that particular method, because of which I encountered the issue. So the bottom line out over here that I have understood is, if I have defined something as a protected, then if two classes are in a relation, then we can simply use the methods within the child class itself. Okay, we can simply use the methods within the child class itself. That's a thumb rule which you people need to consider. Of course, whenever you are creating a framework, you are going to use this protected data type. Public and as well as a protected, we are going to use within the real world. Okay, good enough. Done the deal. And even if you can have a look into the documentation for this protected, you can access it within the same class, you can access it within the same package, and you can access it within the same package in a same and as well as a different classes, and as well as you can't access that information outside of that particular class. Okay, you can't access that info outside of that particular package. Apart from that, everything is good to go within this public access modifiers. Okay, kids, done the deal, done up to here. So the next and a small point that we need to explain is about the static keywords. So actually I have to explain about this static keyword, so with which we can cover few more Java concepts on this static keyword. There are a few more pending Java concepts as per this static. Maybe we will see this static concept and as well as a pending Java concepts in the next session. Okay, we can cover this particular stuff in the next